Hello, my dear student. Today we're learning about the verb spelling in present simple tense. There are 5 rules of verb spelling in present simple tense. Rule number 1. With pronouns he, she, or it, you need to add an ending s right after your verb. For example, eat becomes eats. Here is your ending s. Or sleep becomes sleeps. In most cases, you only need to add an ending s with pronouns he, she, or it. However, when your verbs end on the following combinations, you need to add an ending es instead of just s. Here are the combinations: ch, ss, sh, x, or double z. If your verb ends on the following combination, then you need to add ending es. For example, mix. Mix. Your verb ends on x. Is x on the list? Yes, it's right here. That's why you need to add ending es. Mix becomes mixes. What about watch? For example, she watches TV. Watch ends on the following combination: ch. Is ch on our list? Yes, it's right here, ch. That's why we add an ending es. Watch becomes watches. Rule number 3. Some verbs end on a consonant plus y. In those cases, you need to remove y, replace it with I, and then add an ending es. Let's have a look at an example. Study. Study. Do you see y? Yes. Before y comes the consonant d. D is a consonant. Here is a combination, a consonant and y. Consonant and y. In this case, you need to remove y, replace it with I, and then add es. So study becomes studies. Do you see? We replaced y with an I, and then, and only then, we added the ending es. Here is another word. Reply. Have a look. Here is y, and before y comes a consonant. Consonant and y. What should you do? You should replace y with an I and add es. So reply becomes replies. Let me fix that. Replies. Here is a tricky question for you. What about pay? What about pay? Does pay follow this rule? Should I replace y with an I and then add es? No. Why? Well, it is true that we have y, just like here. But before y comes a vowel, not a consonant. A is a vowel. We need a consonant. D is a consonant. L is a consonant. But A is a vowel. So pay doesn't follow this rule. Instead, it follows rule number 1, where we just have to add an s at the end of the verb. So pay becomes simply pays. Very good. Now let's have a look at rule number 4. Rule number 4 is all about irregular verbs. Some verbs don't follow the regular rules. Instead, they have their own unique forms, and those you have to simply remember. You need to memorize them. For example, have is an irregular verb. I have, they have, we have, but he, she, and it has. What about go? Go becomes goes. What about do? Do becomes does. What about be? The verb to be with pronouns he, she, or it is. Have, has. Go, goes. Do, does. Be, is. Please memorize this. Last rule, number 5, concerns the verbs that end on s or z. In these cases, you need to double the last letter. For example, s or z, you need to double them and only then add an ending es. For example, quiz. Quiz ends on z. In that case, I need to double the z. So, quizzes, and then I need to add the ending es. Es. Double z and es. Quizzes. Very good. Now let's review our rules. There are 5 rules in total. Rule number 1 concerns the majority of verbs. Usually, you only need to add an ending s with pronouns he, she, or it. But those verbs that end on the following combinations are an exception to this rule. These verbs have to have an ending es. For example, mix becomes mixes. Watch becomes watches. Rule number 3. If your verb ends on an ending consonant plus y, you need to replace the y with an I and then add the ending es. Study, consonant y. Remove y, replace it with I, and add es. Study becomes studies. Reply, consonant y. Replace y, add an es. Replies. Rule number 4. Irregular verbs. These verbs don't follow any rule. You need to memorize them. Know these verbs by heart. I have, she has. I go, she goes. I do, he does. Be, is. Rule number 5. If your verb ends on s or z, you need to double that consonant and add es. Quiz becomes quizzes. Very good. I hope that you understood this material. Now, please do your homework.